When I was about 10, 11 years old, I said farewell to the world. I drowned at sea. And blue, 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 and while I stayed on sea-based, I started seeing photos in front of me because I wanted to say goodbye to my parents, to the world. It was exactly the same feeling here. In the Six-Day War, I was a young company commander. My mission was to be the first to enter Khan Yunis. I was the youngest commander, a lieutenant, and I led the troop. I galloped there and I said to myself, wow, I'm gonna make history. I will be the first there. We were attacked in an ambush. And then they hit us. Boom. I felt like I'm losing consciousness. I fall inside the tank. I feel thousands of burning knives stuck in my back. I tried to jump out. I reached to the top of the tank, and then I fall inside. I tried over and over again and remained silent. I wanted to scream out of pain, but I kept silent as I knew they were listening to us all the time and my soldiers were following me. Then I fell. I said goodbye to the world and called my mother's name. I screamed at the top of my lungs. My whole body was burning. But I said to myself, wait a moment, I'm still alive. And nobody can save me here. It's not like the ocean where someone can reach out for me and give me a hand. So I climbed up the tank and managed to get myself out. And then I saw a massive fire. I jumped into the dune and I realized that I had to cover with sand as the fire was getting bigger. I covered my entire body with sand until the head. I wanted to lie down and rest. 60% of my body was burnt. 2 of my soldiers burned to death. I was the hardest burn victim of the 6 Days War. These burns kept reappearing every single day. It burns again every day. When you put some ointment or take a bath in salt water, it starts burning again immediately. I couldn't stop the tears. I would cover myself with a sheet and cry in pain. Every time I felt unbearable pain, I would put a towel inside my mouth and bite it so hard so I wouldn't have to scream. I'm lucky that I'm alive. The first month, my parents and my wife were told that the chances are slim. There's a situation in which a person feels helpless. He is dependent on others, with no ability to care for himself, to eat on his own, or think independently. Everything is dependent on the kindness of others. You feel humiliated, but I mean very humiliated. But the desire to live and stand on your feet makes you overcome the pain and the humiliation in order to remain normal. And also in order to be released, eventually from the post-trauma also. My son was born 2 months after I entered the hospital. 8 days after, it was Shabbat, the Brit Milah took place in the hospital. They put me on a wheelchair.
Kahalani, who was severely injured, decides to return to the army and the tanks. He fears that in crucial times, he'll not be able to function, recalling in his memory the serious injury he had suffered. The Yom Kippur War. Israel is being attacked simultaneously on 2 fronts by both the Syrian army and the Egyptian army. The situation is extremely difficult, even desperate.
When I moved towards the Syrians, I felt my mouth is getting dry. Something which could happen to anyone. I quickly took a water canteen and drank, but it dried up again. And I took a canteen, wet my mouth again, and it dried up again. Now, I'm a commander. I have 44 tanks. How can I suddenly fail? The eyes looking on your back are like an engine that pushes you forward. Everyone is listening to you. Everybody is looking at you. Now you're an actor who has to play the game all the way through. Are you frightened? Yes. Are you shaking? Yes. Do you have any doubts? Of course. But hey, you're the commander. Keep behaving accordingly.
Avigdor Kahalani fought really hard. With his handful of tanks, he fought against 370 Syrian tanks and defeated them. For this heroic battle at Emek HaBacha, he was awarded the Medal of Valor. the highest Israeli military decoration. But there was also a personal battle, the battle with post-trauma, from which Kahalani feared.
On the first night, a Syrian tank suddenly showed up 5 meters to my right and penetrated into my position. I didn't even know it was a Syrian tank until I illuminated the area and I saw it. I was in shock. Then I fired an artillery shell. And the commander of the second tank jumped out of the tank, and he was just like I was in the Six-Day War. And I saw him now through the fire, and I saw his face and noticed he was shouting. It hit me like a rocket right through my body. It paralyzed me. I look at him and I just can't utter a single word. It's like seeing myself right there. Death has touched me. It touched me all the time.
Beit HaLochem is proud that a hero like Kahalani is a member of the organization, just like any other wounded veteran.
At Beit HaLochem, a disabled veteran feels the best in terms of the atmosphere. If I were walking on the beach next to a pretty lady, people would stare at me not because of my great body, but because of all the scars I have on it. At Beit HaLochem, people feel much more comfortable. A person sitting in a wheelchair or someone who takes out the prosthesis when he goes into the shower with me is part of the natural environment. I'm not strange with all my scars. There's an amputee standing next to me, or someone with broken arm, or a blind person who I'm directing how to enter the shower, and so on. Beit HaLochem is our dear home. You feel that you're a part of it, and that this unique home was built especially for you. Do you know how I greet a person without a leg? Hello, hope you grow a leg. Those who understand the great significance and value of Beit HaLochem know that for the veteran, this means everything.
Avigdor Kahalani, an outstanding officer in the Commander's Course, was awarded the Distinguished Service Medal during the Six-Day War and the Medal of Valor for his heroic actions in the Yom Kippur War. Kahalani, a brigadier general in the Israeli Defense Forces, is also a writer and poet whose books have become bestsellers. He served as a minister in the Israeli government, member of Beit HaLochem, the one and only one of us.
Every Jew should understand that we have built a wall around this country to protect ourselves in this crazy Middle East. And this wall is made up of every one of us and all the Jews in the diaspora who cannot serve the army, but are an integral part of us. The community that contributes to disabled veterans puts a brick in the wall of Israel. Supporting our disabled veterans means protecting the state of Israel. When our children and grandchildren enlist in the army, they see how our community treats the wounded and the bereaved families. It assures them that they will never be left behind. As soldiers, it makes them grow. Eventually, this brick is like a weapon in the existence of a nation.